I was going to be looking at what I was supposed to be looking at this week, and I'm just getting late to the show. So, who cares? So, first things first, I did have a couple alerts go off. We'll go look at those. Looks like the most one that needs my attention would be this AUDUSD one. What is it? Break and retest, pull back into this area, have a bullish candle to the upside, waiting for a mark up my areas here. 50% of this candle here. And then that's the next traffic high right there. So we'll drop down to the 5 minutes for here. And then I'd like to see a clean pullback to this area here before continuation that way. So that's what I'd like to see. Just on AUDUSD 1 hour. That's normally I do the 4 hour 15 minutes, but I am also testing at this point in time what the hourly 5 minute would look like. Seeing if I can capture more trades using the same exact concept though as the 4 hour 15 minute, the 1 hour. It's breaks and retest, support and resistance, looking for entries directly there in those zones, but then also taking the next candle after you do get a rejection. So when you get a candle like this, price comes into the zone, you get a candle like this. I am looking at the open of that candle. I'm looking at 50% of the body of that candle, and then I am dropping down. Let's see if the replay tool will work for a second. We're going to drop down to the 5 minutes, clean up this zone that I just drew based upon the stuff down here, and go, okay, does this zone make sense? Well, no, swiping in and out, that does not make sense. This does make sense right here though. So we'll leave it here. And so basically what would we like to see? We'd like to see price. It can come up a little bit more before it comes back, but we definitely want to see it come back, or it might just fall away from here and come back. But either way, we want to see a nice pullback and then a push forward to let us know, yeah, this little rejection here, this little buying pressure that we're seeing is going to be continued in the next hourly candle. And so, play that forward. We get a nice pullback into that area. Cool. We get rejection. And I would say that looks like price is going to continue in that direction. So we take the entry there, stop loss a little bit below the wick, because this is that wick on the 1 hour. And then we would target usually the next high, 1 to 2, 1 to 3. If there's a zone further away, we would do that as well, but it looks like we don't have one. So we'll go directly there and just see what it does. Okay, we end up hitting that. And so those are the things that I'm looking for. Those are the things that I tend to try to get into based upon just zones, clear zones, and candle theory, the way candle forms, two candle theory. So looking at things like that. So let's get out of that guy. And that's how simple it can be. You just need to mark it up and wait for it. So doing the same thing here, waiting for the exact same thing. Let's get rid of the alert. And it doesn't look like we're probably going to get anything, because I wait for the same exact thing. What price to pull back down here, create the wick, and then move forward. And then I would take an somewhere, depending on where the wick stops. I would come down here. If wick comes down further, then I'll do it right on the flip, expecting that if price is going to come all the way down here and I can set up my trade and it's going to turn around, that it'll probably continue going forward. And then the highs that we have here are up here. And so I'd go for that. So not as good as the 1 to 2 that was drawn out earlier, but it's okay. You take what you take. Give what the market gives you. Don't be greedy. So that's what I got for that. Just waiting for this one to set up. So I'll go ahead and set an alert down here and see where that happens. Set an alert down there, and then I'll send an alert up here, because if it gets all the way up there, then I can come back, clear my chart, and I don't have to worry about it. Let's see. On to the 4 hour, because this is where I set up all my zones, set up my alerts and everything like that. AUDCAD, been ranging sideways for quite some time. I have an alert up here. I'm actually waiting for price to break this area, and I'm hoping it'll break good enough that it can come up here and give me a retest. We've just been channeling up after each push after this, so I don't expect another push out of this area. Can it happen? Yeah, sure. You could have a complete and total reversal out of this. Price could break through this and then start channeling down. I don't know. I have an alert down there because that would be the next zone I'd care for if that actually happened. So we will see what that looks like. I just don't trust it at this point in time. That's AUDCAD, simple as that. AUDCHF, it's going sideways. I don't really care for the zone anymore because we actually have not, I mean, we came down in here, nowhere near my alert, bounced out of this, and now we're back into it again. So I would probably go for something down here instead. I'll leave that right there. I have a zone up there probably from earlier when price was actually in this area. Now that's gone away and isn't relevant. I won't mess with that. We do have that same setup that we did on AUDCAD where we have this area here. If price does break up there, then it could look for a retest there as a possible opportunity. And then that's pretty much it. AUDJPY. These are the only two zones I actually see. Everything else has been swish-wash between it. Don't really care about it. So those are the two zones I've been seeing. Just on, little cleanup. If you're like, hey, you have alerts that look like this with the dash and go all the way across, and then you have alerts look like that. One of the beauties of using trending alerts, whether it's trend lines, rays, or horizontal lines or vertical lines, is you can clear it all up and make them all go away all at once. You can't do that with these. You actually have to go into the alert category or actually go and delete them off. So I'm still playing with that just because every now and then when my screen gets crazy, I want to clear up everything, and then I end up clearing everything, and I want to start fresh with a new set of eyes on the charts. But unfortunately, with all those old alerts there, it sort of like points those zones back out again, which might not be as relevant, but because they're drawn out again, it's like, oh wait, are those really zones? And so I'm just playing with that right now. So we'll see. I might go back and forth. We'll see how that works. AUDNZD, I have this area way over here. I don't know. It's maybe you might see a bounce. If anything, we'll definitely should see some sort of reaction out of this area down here. So that'll be something. And then this is clean up there. We've had clean traffic there. So price can come back in here, reject, and could possibly get a rejection off that. I'm not too concerned about this double top that would be here. We'll have to see how that actually works. I did take a trade off of that. Took a trade off of this. Did I close it? Yeah, I've been in this one for quite some time actually. The 4th. What are we on? What's today? The 11th. So I started this on the 4th and finally got to close it. I closed it out today or earlier this morning. Did the full close on that one. I got in that trade basically off that same break and retest. Looks like much higher. Yep, much higher. So I took the break and retest up here. This original break and retest, not this break and retest. That would have been perfect for a second entry if I was already out at 90%, and I was trying to see if it would let it run. But then I had this double bottom that formed down here in an area that I'm like, if this is as area is bigger, then that makes sense. But seeing that double bottom, seeing that strong wick rejection off of that single candle there, I decided to go ahead and just close everything. And so that netted me, what, $39-40. So that was a pretty good trade. Pretty easy to manage. Should have held it longer. I actually kicked out early, 90% way up there, and then let the rest run. I should have held longer, and I'm trying to work on that. Everything is an experiment, a test that you continuously do and you try to improve. And so I should have held longer and then actually closed 90% about now. So right when I did the full close, closed 90% there, move stops to break even, and then just let it go, see where it goes, because it still has the potential in this downtrend to continue down much further, to either once it breaks this level here, to in and around this area here, or at least all the way back down to here as well. So it's like it could still go further. We'll see how it goes, but I'm still working on that. I'm only human. Leave me alone. AUDNZD. So this is one of those things where it's like, look at all the alerts that I have, and you look at it and go, well, yeah, respected, swiped in and out, respected. And it's like, yeah, but that alert could have been way back here when it actually was respected. And then I kept reapplying the alert as price continued slicing through it. And then once price left this area, the alert was still there. I'm like, that's another area it could come back into. And now it's there. Why it's still there, I have no idea now. because if anything, it should have already been triggered. But, oh, that's why it's there. That's it. That's the one we just said a second ago. That would be why that was there. Okay, see, forget. So that's why those two are there. Okay. But so look at that. That makes, oh, look, support. Well, don't read too much into it. Do your higher planning on the higher time frame. You do your planning on the higher time frame, go down the lower time frame, finish up your plan based upon your higher time frame, and then let it go. Don't worry about it. Make your decisions based upon how price moves after that point. So that's all we got there. I do have these upper layers, at least at the 4-hour level where we're at there. I don't see anything else that is clear. CADCHF, I have this zone here we haven't tapped into, and this one way up here. Everything else has been pretty rangy, so I'm gonna leave it alone. CADJPY, same thing, got levels down here, level up there, and we're just channeling up. I mean, it could channel all the way up here. I don't know. We'll see. CHFJPY, waiting for these clean zones to be touched. This is also a pretty good area. It's pretty thick, and so I'm not exactly sure where it's at, but I've left it somewhat in the middle of the zone here as being a possible area for rejection. EURAUD, clean. I'm just going to play these bounces if it continues bouncing between here, but only if I get some good rejection off of it. And then I'll more than likely stick with the 2-candle theory on that one. I'll wait for a clean rejection off of it, and then expect the next candle to also continue up to that level as well, or down from that level. So EURCAD, have a level down here, but then I had this level way in the past that we seem to have bounced at before. So it's possible it could come back down here. You look at that, and you look at this past level here, and when you look at it, if you're pattern based, you could easily be like, this is an ugly head and shoulders pattern, and so we're waiting for a reversal for continue up. I don't actually care where it goes from here. It's just a matter of I just have my zones mapped out for where I plan on possibly taking trades. EURCHF. EURCHF played out nicely. I was expecting price to break out of here, come back up. I had some wick rejections. I had marked everything out. I didn't get an entry, and I was expecting price to fall away. It did fall away, but I didn't take it. Wasn't able to get into a trade from that one. So same thing though. I'm waiting for price to move down to this area here. I might, now that we've had some reaction here, I might clean this up like that and use list level here as a possible entry again. So if price can come into that level, give me some rejection, it's possible that it could then continue all the way down, and then I'll try to trail that all the way down. EURGBP, just been slowly trickling down, got these zones way out here. Nothing that was clear. I didn't like this wick area here, and so I've left that alone. EURJPY, plus with the trickling, I didn't care about that. EURJPY is in the zone now. I'm not sure about taking this one. We have been going sideways. I could play the up and down. I might wait for the same thing in regards to wait for a bearish candle and then continue with the next bearish candle down. That just seems to be safer. You see it here, bearish candle, next bearish candle down, bearish candle, next bearish candle down, bearish candle, next bearish candle down, almost all the way down to the zone, bearish candle, next bearish candle down, finally went all the way to the zone. Never made it to the zone, but bearish candle, next bearish candle down, all the way down to the zone. So it's like waiting for that next bearish candle might be safer than just taking the straight rejection instead. So we'll see. It could turn out something like this, where I do get a bullish candle and I try to take the next bullish candle and then it just swipes through. You never know, but when you look at it, the odds are in your favor. Bearish up win, or bullish up win, bearish up down win, win, loss. Let's wait. Okay, never made it. Cool. Win. Like, the odds are in your favor to handle it that way when you get into situations like this. If you're just making sure that you're staying consistent to your entry reasons and they fit in the context of what it is. So it's like, this is support and resistance in a range, and I'm just going to play the range. EURNZD. EURNZD, I am pretty close as far as down here in this zone here, only because it was clear. It might not be as clear anymore, so I might nix that. And I'm going to nix it. It's ugly. And so this is where it's like I remove the drawings, but then my zones are still there. And so you still get this nice clean zone here, which I'll leave. But then all the rest of them can go away. So let's get rid of that. That's an ATR. I don't even know how that alert got there. And I don't even know what this alert is. It's probably all the way down here somewhere. It is. So we have some area here and then an area here. So looks like we're already in that zone and we have yet to tap that zone. So we're in that zone. We've already gotten our bounces, so no point in messing with that guy. The downside about this guy is if we get into this zone, we don't really have a lot of wiggle room to play with if it's going to come back up, because then if we're going to use this as the next traffic area, I don't know. You take into consideration these moves here. So if we take this move to this move here, that's my one candle rejection plus my next candle follow up. That puts, that's right there. But you know, you're going to generally you get some traffic before you get to the area and you start getting these quick spikes in. I don't know. So there's not a lot of room there. Now, is it possible that you can still get a good entry on the lower time frame? Yeah, it's possible. So I'll still set an alert there, but I'm going to be mindful of that. Like that's my next traffic area right there. So I'll wait for that, see how that plays out. That's another zone up there. And now it's cleaner. And we'll just leave it like that. Much messier earlier. We'll leave it now clean. EURUSD. Just have this area here that price has been at. And then that area is not really a good area. I don't think I was on the lower time frame for this one, looking at like the 1 hour and stuff like that. So I'll leave that there. That is waiting for price to break up. I'm going to get rid of that. And this is where it makes a little bit more sense to use an alert like this, because now I know it's like when price triggers this alert, I was looking at this scenario here when that happened. With the alert that was right back here, was this alert there because I was waiting for price to break above this area and come back, you know, a day or so ago? I'd have to look at when the trigger was, or when the alert was created. It's like, why do that when I can just have that there on the chart? And then when I'm ready, I can actually delete everything and be gone, and I can start fresh, clean and fresh. So like, let's leave that. GBPAUD. Have the alerts there. I am waiting for this as well. That's why I have that mid alert right there, because we've had this zone that price has just been hammering into for quite some time. And so if price can come up and then retest, I can get a pullback up into this area here. This area is in the past, back that way. So I don't know, because we also have this small break and retest zone up this way as well, that you could get some traffic. So you could get traffic here and you could get traffic up there. That's the reason why I have this one all the way down here as my area to look at. So there's still room there. So we'll leave that alone. GBPCAD, waiting on these as well. I do see that if we can break above this level here, we could be looking for a break up there and then a retest to continue up. So I will put an alert in the middle. There to say, hey, come look at me, just in case that gets triggered. GBPCHF going sideways. Not too happy about it. It's just been going sideways for quite some time, and I have alerts there and there based upon the highs. Highs there. Don't know if it'll actually trigger which one. We'll see. GBPJPY. Let's come down here. I was looking at this one, tracking this one just on 1 hour, 5 minute. Is that where it's at? Or is it 4 hour? No, it is 4 hour, 4 hour 15. So tracking this one, because this looked pretty, but this is exactly what I'm looking for. So price broke above this level, and you got another bullish candle. Would have missed that first one. Don't know if there was an entry on that, on the second one. Third one is like, okay, let's see. So marked up everything, had a zone in there as well. 50% of the body, 50% of that previous wick before it. Come down here, try to see what makes sense. The body didn't make sense. This wick zone made sense. Price came back in here, rejected a few times, got a bullish engulfing candle, and then, set the trade and go sort of thing. I'm not actively in this trade, but I am tracking it just to be like, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for these clean setups. Trying to stay away from the ugly ones, trying to stay away from the questionable ones, the ones that don't make me as confident. Because the ones that I get into that I wasn't confident to get into to begin with are the ones that I generally tend to worry about. These ones that look relatively clean, whether they win or lose, I feel better about them. And so I'd rather take more of those than more of just nasty ones. So that's that, tracking that guy. GBPNZD, clean structure there. We had a break and retest already played out. We had a break and retest there. It could still come back and possibly retest. It's already small. So yeah, no, if anything, we've already had the break and retest there with that candle there. So now just waiting for price to come up into those two levels there. GBPNZD, price is broken up, waiting for price to hopefully push up a little bit more before falling down and retesting this area. Then I'll get in for that. NZDCAD, we had a nice break and retest there. We haven't really channeled up as much as I would like to this next section. If it's going to continue doing this all the way up there, I will probably nix and stay out of it. I like those sharp pushes into zones. If you got something like this where it rejected once and then came back and rejected again with the, like, that's nice. But if you get something, yeah, I got nothing. I don't have a good example. It's, once again, one of those things that I feel more comfortable with taking a trade versus just taking a trade. So how price enters the zone is how I also decide whether or not I'm going to take it. NZDCHF, got my zones marked up, see what happens there, trying to keep it clean. NZDJPY, I was expecting price to bounce off this level. It never did. Broke through. Wasn't looking. It didn't even. You got one solid rejection there, but that's more of an indecision candle. Still would have looked. But the process still would have been the same. I don't know if that was daily, but we'll leave that alone. Process still would have been the same. Looking on the 15 minutes down here, and I would have looked for, where my entry would have been. 50% of the body probably would have been somewhere here. I would have had rejections there. Everything would have looked good. I would have set my area here, waiting for the flip of the candle, expecting price to continue down, and it never did. Could this next candle have triggered me in with spreads? Possibly, but it never actually happened, so I didn't have to worry about it. So yeah, there's that. Usually at 9:45 spreads aren't that bad, so I probably wouldn't have been triggered in. NZDUSD, was waiting for price to, that was earlier last week, waiting for price to continue on from here. It did all the way up to the next zone. Had a break and retest there, did not catch that. That's sad. And that would be the next traffic zone there. I do have an alert up there. Oh, I'm on the 1 hour. Stop that. Break and retest there. Don't know what that there for. That's probably off of this candle here and never actually got triggered into it. So let's get rid of that guy as well. Get rid of that guy. And so that is what we have for the 4 hour. That's no longer relevant. That one is. That's gone. That's clean. See what happens. I'll put another alert up here just to see how price reacts to this area. And then we'll leave that alone. Yeah, we could be playing off this area here. So I will put another alert here just because we could come back down here, test this area before continuing on to break this. We'll see. USDCAD. Still same zones. We'll be fine. USDCHF. Waiting for areas here. I have this area here because it was just a stalling point. I don't know if I'll actually see anything there. And then breaks and retest there, nothing there, nothing there. and we'll leave this zone here. It gets kind of funky. We'll see how price reacts there. And USDJPY, same thing, bouncing from zone to zone. Hopefully we get another push all the way up here, and we'll see how that goes. This could have been, once again, another one of those. You have one candle, two candles, cool. You could have hit targets by then, especially if you waited somewhere in the lower time frame for an entry down here. Could have hit targets. Any one of these, you probably wouldn't have got an entry. Maybe you would have gotten an entry there. Maybe you would have gotten an entry on this one off of that one. And then we can basically continue up all the way up. So as we continuously get bullish candles, as we're expecting price to continue moving forward, we can use the 2 candle theory and continue going that direction. But right now we don't know. And so that's pretty much it. I do have some alerts on gold. I'm just waiting for price to come into this area here. It's pretty clean. On gold, I generally do the daily though, because the 4-hour price just moves quickly in the 4-hour, and I don't want to be alerted every time this makes a move. So price bounced off this area here. I was waiting for that. I don't know when I made this alert, but never pushed deep enough to actually trigger my alert, but did get a nice bounce off of this one. And then we have some more alerts up that way. That's pretty much it. So covered everything. That's all of my pairs right now. I'm trying to get into a point where I can get a little more comfortable with a few of them, them being AUDCAD, EURUSD, GBPJPY, and NZDCHF. So I can start looking on the 1 hour and 5 minutes as well for trades, and looking for entry reasons based upon that. Same criteria though. Support and resistance and 2 candle theory are the 2 things that I trade. And then I have, you know, some patterns that I'll use in order to get into some trades into particular zones, double bottoms, double tops, head and shoulders, momentum reversals, 3 candle reversals, whatever you want to call them. So you can call them whatever you want, just whatever gets you into the market and you're consistently doing it. That way you can continuously get the data. And once you get the data, you can look at it and you can try to figure out how to make your trading better. And that's really the name of the game. So that's all I have for today. I am going to be coming back to work, actually. Actually, I might be getting off. I'm not quite sure. But you guys be blessed out there. Don't work too hard, and don't let your losses bring you down, and don't let your wins go to your head. And so until then, take it easy.